Alex Jones. I'll see if I don't think we talked about it last week.
No. Yeah, we didn't ultimately get to it.
So I'll give, I mean, everybody knows the Alex Jones defaulting into judgment, $1.5 million order, petitioned into bankruptcy, tried to restructure. There was no agreement to be had, went from bankruptcy protection to bankruptcy liquidation, and they're going to liquidate the assets. And they had what was supposed to be a public offer for the assets of InfoWars. Open auction so that everybody knows what the bids are, who puts in the highest bid. But this obviously politically motivated trustee changes the rules allegedly and turns it into basically a secret auction by envelope. So you put your thing in, nobody knows what the offers are, who put in what for way of offers, and the trustee accepts what he deems to be the best offer, not even the winningest offer. And he accepted an alleged offer from The Onion that was allegedly backed by the Connecticut plaintiffs, who, in order to sweeten up the deal, said, okay, it's only $1.75 million for the assets, but we will make that worth $7 million by abandoning what the Onion would have to pay us from the purchase price and the proceeds, so that it'll be effectively worth multi-million-dollar offer, even though it's only 1.75 for cash for the assets. And he accepts it. They go for the emergency injunction in front of Judge Lopez, I want to say. And the judge says, we're not convinced that what went down was totally kosher. It's on pause. The Onion hasn't gotten it yet. Elon Musk has filed a notice of intent of some purpose in the bankruptcy. I don't know if you know any more details than I do, but take it from there and let us know what you think.
Yeah, I don't know any more than anyone else does, at least on any of these aspects. So nothing I would say would represent any kind of attorney-client information or anything like that. Alex has been public about everything through the whole process, very transparent throughout the whole process. And our criticism of the Sandy Hook cases all the way through fundamentally was about the violation of our constitutional rights and liberties, which must always come first, more so than our willingness or lack of willingness to be offended. But in the same capacity, it's the legal process that created that outcome, and to have confidence in the legal process itself. And everything we looked at said everything about the Sandy Hook set of cases appears to be designed to use the legal system as a tool, as a weapon, as a mechanism to punish those they dislike or that are politically disfavored in their community, with that local jury pool and local elected judges and elected officials. And as long as you have complicit appellate courts, you can effectively force someone into bankruptcy before they ever get to, say, a Supreme Court rule on whether or not the whole thing is constitutional in the first place. And everything we've said so far keeps coming to fruition. That if you had the most cynical, skeptical view of the cases against Alex Jones, if you suspected that they were purely political, they had no substance whatsoever behind them, that and you would say, well, they would do this and this and this and this, it still wouldn't be as bad as the things that they have done. And it was here you had what appears to me to be fraud on the bankruptcy court. You appear to have a U.S. trustee, federal official, complicit in an attempt to defraud the estate, which is partially represented by the U.S. government. I mean, this is levels of fraud going on here that mirrors and parallels the kind of fraud that Pfizer committed against the American people with calling an unsafe, ineffective, dangerous drug a safe, effective vaccine for little kids in the case of the COVID vaccine. So that is the same dynamic present. And so, we'll see if consequence comes of it ultimately.
What was I going to say about that? No, okay. So, but some people are asking, like, my understanding was that the trustee has to approve any transaction in bankruptcy anyhow. The news isn't contradicting that. They just say, well, the judge typically would defer to the expertise or the discretion of the trustee. But the judge in bankruptcy has to approve all transactions in bankruptcy. I'm not wrong about that under U.S. law?
Right. Yes.
Okay. And now, what do you think the judge is going to do in this case? You hold an evidentiary hearing. If it turns out Jones has filed an emergency injunction or emergency motion to disqualify the Onion and to disqualify all of the partners in crime, so to speak, to that offer. what sort of remedies does the judge have, at his disposal, and what do you think ultimately happens?
It makes me wonder whether they really thought that they just needed to get through to the election and then they'd be done with Trump world, done with Jones, done with all of them, and didn't realize that no, that's just the beginning of Act Two. That they is what they woke up to after election night, because it's like they didn't have a plan at some point. Like here, you're on the verge of getting to basically shut down InfoWars, weaponizing the legal system without a meaningful merits judgment ever occurring at any level. It's insane on its own basis, and yet you're so greedy that you leak out the information that the trustee has that's supposed to be anonymous, that's supposed to be separate, right before the auction occurs, that other people had been foreclosed from that auction. And it looks like they were trying to cook the books on the auction. They were trying to do a fake auction because they were afraid that an honest auction would produce an honest valuation for their clients, but would actually promote more free speech, not demote it, and expose them as the frauds they are, who have been misusing their access to their clients, in my view, committing legal malpractice and breach of their fiduciary obligations to their clients. And now you have the U.S. trustee willing to do the same thing and willing to betray the trust of the U.S. government, willing to commit federal crimes. For what? To just so InfoWars can't be on the air as InfoWars? I mean, look at how, when people tell me Alex Jones has no influence, then tell me, why are they so obsessed with him then? If this guy has no, he's just a conspiracy theorist and well, then why is the U.S. government, with people on record with undercover reporters talking about how they work together with people in the media, with people in private law firms, all to coordinate to create a case that, in my view, was a fake case because of how it was done procedurally, into shutting him down? And they still couldn't even shut him down. They still weren't able to do so before Election Day. They still weren't able to do so right after Election Day. They failed on both sides of that aisle. That he truly is, Godzilla. They keep throwing, they keep nuking him. It's stronger. That they should have figured that out now by Alex Jones, but they're clearly as slow to it as all the people who oppose Trump.
The thing I absolutely do not understand. I don't know what InfoWars brings in by way of, let's say, net revenue. I know it's got to be substantial because they have amazing viewership. They have amazing sales on merch, on supplement stuff, which I think, the markup is more or less depending on the products. The Onion bid, even if the Onion bid 1.75 million cash, even if they bid the 7 million cash, how the hell is that business, which generates what it generates, being evaluated at 1.75 or 3 million from the offer that came in from the FUAC? I forget what the acronym is. How are they evaluating it that? And for $2 million, why doesn't Elon Musk come in and snatch it all up and just continue operating?
Yeah, he may now. I think back at the beginning of all this, he wasn't sure where certain people were on the too radioactive space. How far could he go? This was Rogan, Robert Kennedy. Then you're in Alex Jones space, and how much are, and in the conventional space, that those are all people you weren't supposed to listen to and are supposed to discard if you had a respectable opinion. I'll have people come up to me that will say the most blatant things, but it's it is what it is. Where was I before?
We were talking about Alex Jones, the assets, Elon Musk coming to buy them in.
Oh yeah, so clearly, it's in a situation where everybody knows the solution, a solution that is the same solution Jones has been offering for years, which is happy to put aside a big chunk of cash for the next 30 years that we make to give you a sense of relief and remedy for any mistake you blame me for. And even though he would have good grounds to argue a lot of that's being misdirected at him, putting that aside, he said, okay, I accept that, I deal with it, I understand it. And that's the practical. Everybody knows that's the practical solution. Because if they'd gone to the jury and said, "Jury, please prohibit our critics from speaking out," then they'd be like, "Well, hold on a second, that's not our role as a jury. Can't be our role constitutionally." So so all of this was all along one big long scam to censor, to create a new mechanism of lawfare to be able to censor and suppress dissident speech in America. And it's because of the unwillingness of Alex Jones to go anywhere that has prohibited them from being successful in it, because they misread Alex Jones at the end of the day.
Nacho Kitty in our locals community says, Viva, the Onion gave no money. They promised future earnings from Alex. No, they offered 1.75 million cash, and then other consideration, which was the Connecticut plaintiffs foregoing what would be owed to them from the proceeds of the purchase, which they then said brought it to the equivalent of a $7 million cash offer, which is still, Elon overpaid $10 billion for Twitter. Buy it, Elon. Like, buy InfoWars and let it continue. But hold on, there was another thing that I was going to say about that. The assets. Oh, yes. The offer, and whether or not anyone's going to be sued for malpractice in this, it's not, the offer of a settlement on the table for however many years later, from revenue generated from the library that would continue to exist and continue to be created of Alex Jones. It's obvious what they want. Elon Musk's notice of intent or whatever, he filed a notice of interest in the bankruptcy. I thought, I had heard someone say that he put in an offer, but I don't think he did. Some others were hypothesizing that it might have been because they were going to ask to transfer the IP of Twitter over to this company, and that's why he filed it in. Do you have any inkling as to why Elon and Twitter would file a notice?
Yeah, it might not mean anything, because there might be separate assets or liabilities that are impacted by Twitter.